All right. Hello. Good evening, Karen. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Yes, I'm fine. I'm a little tired, but I'm fine. And you?
All right. Yeah, I'm good, Karen. Thanks for asking. I'm tired as well, but we're going to try to do this quickly. All right. Then we're going to go to sleep because well, actually, of course, we have to use the hour for this class, but now you don't have any more lessons to cover with me. Today, it's only going to be a review. I'm going to show you what we covered and you're going to tell me if it's clear for you. All right. Perhaps I'm going to ask you examples. This is only going to be speaking. Okay. Today is only going to be mainly speaking. We're not going to write. But I have to be sure that everything that we did this month is clear for you if you remember those lessons or if you have questions about it. All right. And after seeing that, after reviewing and seeing if everything is clear, we're going to have one last speaking practice related to one of those charts that we used to practice, or perhaps with one short video as we did in the last conversation. But that's going to be it for today. All right. We don't have any more new lessons, but let me know if you have questions about what we're going to be doing today, Karen.
No.
No? All right. So let's begin. To review, I wanted to show you the presentations here, but more than the presentations, we don't need to see the presentations once again, right? This is everything we covered. But more than this one, we're going to be using Pearson, all right? And again, we're not going to open anything. I'm just going to be sure that all these lessons are clear and that we don't have questions about them. So we covered 4 units. We finished the 4 units, and this is mainly what we were able to see. I'm mainly going to go to grammar because that's what we practice on class. So here, the contrast between the simple present and the present continuous, expressions for suggesting, right? Give me a suggestion or advice, and infinitives with to and enough, right? I am too tired to pass classes. I am old enough to go to parties, and so on and so forth. So, first, let me know, do you have questions about any of these structures, Karen? Perhaps I'm going to ask you some questions for examples, but what do you say? Do you have any questions, comments, doubts about this unit?
Uh, I think that maybe with two on and off. I practice, but I don't remember. I don't have in my notebook something
Good.
about two on and off. I don't know why.
Let me show you, all right? It's going to be very, very brief. Don't worry. And it's good, okay? It means that we need to reinforce. We're not going to see the entire lesson again, of course, but we are going to see the example so that you can remember, okay? This is the structure with infinitive and to. Remember, he is too tired to play soccer. Remember that we use to that say that it's more, that it's exaggerated, right? You can say, hey, you are too young to be in this party. It means you are 17 years old. You cannot be in this party, right? This party is for 18 years old. All right. So you don't have to be here. That's why I can say you are too young to be in this party. All right. You are, or the exam is too hard to pass it, right? So it's too hard. It's impossible to pass, sorry, that exam. Okay, so that's with to. To, remember, has a negative connotation, right? It's negative. I'm too tired. I'm too stressed out, and so on. And with enough, it's the same, but it can be positive or negative. It depends if you use that in affirmative or negative. So you can say, I have enough money, right? This is sufficient. This is enough, right? What you need. I have enough money to buy that house, right? That's positive. But you can say, I don't have enough money to buy that house. It means that you don't have the money that you need to buy that house. All right. I don't know if you remember now. You're going to give me some examples, but let me know if you remember now or if you have questions about it, please, Gary.
No, everything's okay.
Okay, good. So only to clear out, all right, with this logic, give me please one example using to plus infinitive, right? Like in the first example, this is the best example.
Teacher, I can hear you.
Give me 1 second. Can you hear me now, Karen?
Now, yes.
Okay, I'm going to disconnect everything. Give me 1 second. Today my internet was not very good. So
Don't worry.
good. I think it's going to be working great now. So, but can you hear me? You can hear me now, good, right?
Now, yes.
Okay, good. So, one example, please. Only one example following the structure in the first example
Okay. My my dog is too big to travel with me in the cabin of the airplane.
here. Good. Great. Only in that one, instead of cabin, it's going to be the cabin of the airplane.
Cabin.
Okay. Okay, good. Great. I think that was a great example, Karen. Very good. The same, but now with enough, please. Give me actually two with enough, please, Karen. Give me one affirmative sentence with enough and one negative sentence.
Okay. Um, I I have not have had enough time to do my homework this week.
Correct. That is correct. It is perfect. I hope you get to finish your homework.
I will.
Okay, good. But it's good. The good thing is that you have until next week, right? So good. Great. But the example was good. One more, please. I think that was negative.
Okay. Yes.
Now, one affirmative.
Uh, mm, uh, she has no she has she she I don't know she has enough um I, I, I don't know what to
Or
say.
remember, instead of has, you can also use an adjective, right?
Yes.
For example, in this one, you can say, Peter is intelligent enough to write his thesis in French and English, right? So you can use a noun or you can use an adjective, but if you use an adjective, the adjective has to be before enough.
Okay. She is beautiful enough to win the competition.
All right, good. Very good. I think that's great. Only one suggestion. A competition is going to be more like, usually you have competitions for races, okay? For races between if you're running or driving a car. But if it's like a beauty, it's going to be related to a contest, okay? Un concurso. Más que una competencia, un
Okay.
concurso. All right, so it's going to be, she is beautiful enough to win the contest instead of competition. Okay, so one more time, please, Karen.
She is beautiful enough to win the contest.
The contest. Great. That's it. And that's it with two and enough, right? That's to reinforce. I don't know if you have any other questions about these two words.
No.
Okay, good. So, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to do. It's not going to take a long time, but if it takes a time, then it's important to reinforce everything. Okay, here, don't worry about how much it can take. The important is that everything is clear for you. So that was unit one. Okay, it means that unit one is kind of clear and it is clear. Now, in unit two, we got to see these elements. First, the present perfect, right? We know that the present perfect is indefinite, right? You never say, I have gone to the gym yesterday. That is incorrect, right? You never use a definite time expression with the present perfect, right? The present perfect is called the indefinite past. We don't know when it happened, right? That's important. Then, models of advice: should, ought to, and had better, right? Remember about had better? You had better do your homework or you will fail the course, right? You had better do your homework or you will fail the course. And future with will and be going to. Remember, this is easy, but it's important to know when to use them, right? Will for predictions without evidence, future facts, promises, and be going to for plans, predictions with evidence, right? And mainly those situations. So let me know, please. Do you have any questions about any of these lessons?
No.
All right, good. So here, this is what we're going to do, right? If you have questions, we're going to check that specific lesson so that it is clear. If we don't have questions, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions or a couple of examples, all right? Just to practice. For example, all right, if I ask this question, when have you finished your homework? When have you finished your homework? Do you think that that question is correct or incorrect? And why? What do you say?
Uh, it's incorrect because when the word when indicates always a period of a specific time. I don't know if I'm saying.
It is good. More than a period, I wouldn't say a period,
Yes,
but I would say a specific time
a
in the
specific
past.
time in the past.
Correct. Great. Very good. Exactly. It is incorrect. You never ask with when. What type of questions, or you can give me one example. What type of questions can you ask with the present perfect, Karen?
Mm, I think that have you ever no,
It is good.
you ever have you ever have been I don't remember if I need to use to Brazil or
To. It's okay to. If you use been and you want to add a place or a country, you say to in this case.
okay. I don't know if it's okay if I say have you ever have you ever been to Brazil? No.
It is perfect. Because if you analyze, is have the auxiliary, you the subject, then ever is the emphasizer, and then the verb in the past participle been. Have you ever been? And then you need a location or something, right? In this case, you're using a country, so you're using to plus the country, right? So it is perfect. Have you ever been to Brazil? Yes, I have. No, I haven't, right? But it means once, at least once in your entire life, right? Good. All right, that's it. Let's remember only that you can use questions with how long, right? How long is one of the best questions for the present perfect. How long have you studied English? For example, how do you answer that one, Karen? How long have you studied English?
How long? I have studied for 1 month.
Okay, good. It is correct. It is valid. So there, I don't know right exactly when, but I don't know how long, right? That has happened. And also another question, remember, that is how many times, right? And I can ask you, and this is also for you, Karen. Karen, how many times have you, let's say, okay, what can it be? All right, yes. How many times have you traveled to, let's say, Santa Cruz? How many times have you traveled to Santa Cruz?
I have traveled many times. I don't remember.
Good, and it is valid, right? I have traveled there. You can say there. I have traveled there many times, right? Good. So that's it, okay? That's only one thing that I wanted to ask to be sure that everything is clear, and it is. So very good. That was Unit 2. In Unit 3, we had also some review about that one, as you can see here, Karen. First, the difference between the present perfect and the simple past, right? And we did that again, so we know that one. Then, models of ability with can and be able to, okay? It's important that you remember how to use be able to in past, in present, and in future, right? And finally, possessive pronouns, right? It means that you don't use the object. It's yours, hers, theirs, etc. So what do you say about this unit? Any specific questions?
Um, I think that with the pronouns, when I took the exam for this unit, I have a part with the pronouns and I failed and I got a 0, but I I couldn't see the correct answer. So I don't know if we can do, because I don't remember the specific sentence with these possessive pronouns.
Good. Was it the quiz or was it the one assignment?
The
The
quiz.
quiz? Okay. So let's go there. Actually, and it was number 3, so it finished. So no problem. You can see it with me now, right? That's what we're going to do. You're going to do this with me together. So let's go to that part directly. It was, I imagine, a grammar part. It was
Yes.
not listening, right? It was to
No.
complete, to,
Yes, to complete.
okay. So here, this grammar is, no, this is
No.
speaking. This is grammar. Come, came,
What
have
is
been. This one is with can, be
this?
able to. This one. All
uh,
right, so let's analyze, right? It says, let's read actually, please, the conversation.
look at that beautiful painting on the wall. I know I bought it. I don't know if this black period is the answer I did.
No, this is the correct answer here. Well,
Uh,
what you did, then it must be different. Because
yes.
now, look, I'm not saying at your specific exam now. This is
Oh,
only the exam, all right, itself. And this is the exam with the correct answers.
okay.
But
I,
you don't remember what
I
answer you selected.
yes, I put mine. It's
All
mine
right.
now.
Okay, this one in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, but why? What do you think then that mine is the correct answer over here?
Mm, it's my. I don't know because the examples that we saw, uh, I don't know if always the how can I say this pro ¿cómo se le dice a estas? Mine, yours, I forgot the
Those are pronouns, okay? Those
okay.
are possessive pronouns.
Because I don't know if it's always the possessive pronouns go to the end of the sentence.
Okay, let's check. And actually, I'm going to show you something and you're going to understand. Okay, I'm sure that you're going to understand with this explanation. But first, you know that here it was the correct, and here it is also yours. And let's see, okay, why. Let me show you this. Okay, I'm going to show you actually first the presentation to remember a little bit, and then we are going to practice something together. Okay, take a look at this first. This is going to give you part of the answer. Why do we have this difference here, Karen? What do you say? Why do we say this, this, and this? Why here we use my, and here we use mine? Here we use her, here we use hers, here we use your, and here yours. What do you say? What explanation can you give?
Okay, I think that the when we use mine, my, we always have a after a noun, but when we use mine, we don't have a noun in the sentence. I think.
Great. That is good. That is the first thing, and it is correct. And it's not any noun, right? This noun is your possession. So after my, this is called Karen, an adjective, a possessive adjective, sorry. Okay, this is a possessive adjective. So you know that adjectives always go before the noun, right? So my is qualifying the pencil, right? But a pronoun is not describing anything. A pronoun replaces something, right? You need to remember that. A pronoun replaces something. For example, Peter. What is the pronoun for Peter? He, right? Karen. What is the pronoun for Karen? She, right? Here, the same. Mine. The word is pencil. My pencil. But mine is a pronoun that replaces the object and the adjective possessive, or the possessive adjective. All right, so what you answer is correct, but let's add that one, and then I'm going to show you something else. But first, it's important. After mine, you don't have a possession, okay, an object or a noun. But if you analyze these sentences over here one more time, all right, in the exam over here is this one. Here you have now, right? Now is not a noun, right? Now is not an object. Here you're talking about what? The painting, right? So this is the object. So if here you had a Karen, yes, I bought it. It is painting now. It means that the best option here is going to be my, right? Why? Because you have a noun, you have an object after the possessive, right? But in this case, you don't have anything. You only have it is, you have blank, and then you have this word, but this is not a noun, right? This is a time expression. So it means that the only possible answer is going to be mine, because it's replacing the idea that it's your possession, right? Own means propio. For own, you also need something, right? That's my own house. That's my own career, right? That is my, you need an object. That is my painting. That is my car. That is my brother. But in this case, as you don't have any other word but now, the only possible answer is mine here, right? The same here. You don't have anything else afterwards, okay? That's the rule. If you don't have any other object or a noun, that is better if you call it a noun, as you said, Karen. If you don't have a noun, then the only possible answer here is going to be yours. Why? Because if you say you is an object, right? And here you need a possession, right? This was related to possession. You are is a subject plus a verb, right? And here, of course, you don't need a subject plus a verb, because here you have the subject and the verb, right? So the only possible answer is going to be yours. Now, you can have words after this, okay? Here you can say, that is mine now, okay? It's like saying, mío ahora, All right. It is hers, right? From or since last week. All right. It means that starting last week, it is her possession. But so it means that I can have words afterwards. That was one of your questions, right? You can have words, but you cannot have a noun, and you cannot have the noun that is the possession. Okay, that's the only rule over there. But you can have other words as long as they are not words that are related to this possession. All right. I don't know that if that helps a little bit, Karen. Let me know, please.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Now I
Okay.
understand. I understand better.
Okay. Good. That's great. And just in case, there's one example here. I'm not going to show you everything. I just want to see where that sorry, that example is. No, I think this is not the one. All right, there is one exercise. I think this is going to be, yes, here, this can help even a little bit more. Let's try to do this together very quickly. You need to tell me if you need the adjective, the possessive adjective, sorry, or the possessive pronoun. Remember, possessive adjective is you, oh, sorry, your, and possessive pronoun is yours, right? So here, what do you believe is in this part? Is it your or yours?
Um,
Remember, it depends if you have something afterwards.
yours.
I'm going to keep my microphone on. That's correct. We're going to check. What about this one? No.
In first,
All right. Over here.
in this case, his.
All right. Huh? And one question, because his is the same, right, as adjective pronoun, sorry, possessive adjective and possessive pronoun. What do you think here is the answer? Is this an adjective or is this a pronoun? If it's an adjective, it means it's describing a noun. If it's a pronoun, it's replacing a noun.
The first one.
The first one, right? An adjective. Okay. What about this one?
Hers.
All right. Next one over here.
And in this case, their.
Over here.
In yeah, okay. But if I only use if I think that the God is he, I can use in this case his. If I know.
It is possible. Again, I told you, right?
Yeah.
These days, usually, we are given, of course, they have a sex, right? It's going to be male or female, right? If you know the sex of the goat, you can say his or her. Also, if you have a close connection with the animal, right? But in grammar, if it's only one animal, grammatically speaking, it's always going to be the best idea to use it as possession and it as the pronoun and also as the object. All right, but if you know and you can use it again, it's possible to to say his or her.
Okay, but it's.
It's exactly right. Usually, we do that with closer, let's say, animals like pets, right? But again, grammatically speaking, if you don't want to have a mistake in that one, okay, the best option is always going to be it's. All right.
Okay.
What about number 4?
Their.
All right. Over here.
Own.
All right. Like that one.
The number 5?
No, in this one, is it okay like this?
Okay, think. Yes, I think.
All right. Okay, we're going to check at the end, don't worry. What about number 5?
This, your.
In number 5, right? This, remember, you have to use the adjective or pronoun for I.
Sorry. My.
Okay, my, like that word?
And the one is mine.
In this one?
Yours.
Okay. All right. What about here?
Your. Oof. I don't know if I use mine or mine. I don't know.
Try to guess. Which one sounds better for you?
Mine is broken. Mine is broken. Two sounds good.
Right, but then you have to guess. All right, guess one of them.
Okay. My.
All right, we're going to check again. Okay, and with this, I think you're going to understand. All right, you're going to see. What about number 7?
His.
Sorry.
No.
The next one.
It's.
All right. Number 8, please.
Mine.
The next one.
Yours.
Number 9.
This. There.
All right, the next one. What about the next one?
Ours.
The next one?
Hair.
All right. And the last one, please.
Mine.
Like that one?
Yes.
Okay, now let's check. You're going to see what happened. I think you have a couple of mistakes, and we're going to analyze what happened there. Okay, but this is important, and with this, everything is going to be clear. Okay, so these two. Why? Let's check one by one. Okay, here you say yours. When do you say yours? Yours means tuyo. Your means tú. Okay, tú. So your, tú, yours, tuyo. Hers, suyo, right? Her, su. That's why hers is okay. Suyo. It's hers. It is suyo. His means, in this case, su is suyo. So it depends, right? That's why I ask you. And it's okay. It's an adjective. How do you know that it's an adjective? More than grammar here, Karen. Because you have a noun. You gave me that answer. But if you have a noun, after, it has to be after. Okay? Not many words afterwards, not after a verb. No. It has to be next to the word. Okay? It has to be next to the word and after the word. So yes, his hat, su sombrero. That one is hers. Her means su. Hers means suyo. So it is correct, right? The same here. Their means su. And its means su. So it is correct. Their goat eats food. Now here, their house, su casa, is big. But here not our. Why? Our means su. It's like su es muy pequeña, right? You need to tell me la suya. How do you say la suya? Ours.
Ours.
And how do you know that you have to say ours here? Because you don't have a noun, you have a verb, right?
Okay,
And if you have a
okay.
verb, right, it's like saying he. He is very small. She is very small. That's why you use possessive pronouns to replace the word. All right, so ours, la nuestra, is very small. Es muy pequeña. Right, the same here. My seat, because you have seat, mi asiento. This is yours. Esto es tuyo. Now here, can I use your racket, right? Your racket. Tu raqueta. My is broken. This is incorrect because this is like saying mi está rota, right? Mi qué? Here you need an object. Necesitas un objeto, perhaps my racket. But as you don't have the noun, you have to say mine, la mía. Okay? So that's how you use pronouns. You use pronouns when you don't have the noun, but you replace the noun by using only one word. Okay? La mía está rota. All right, so that is why those two were incorrect. But I don't know now if that also helps. Do you get now the difference between my, mine, our, and ours?
Yes.
All right, good, very good. Only one more thing to verify, the final verification. All right, it's going to be in this example over here. And number 4, yes. Things. Okay, I'm going to write 2 short ideas and you're going to tell me which one is the best option, right? And if I say that is your brother, right? And I say here, okay, and imagine here that you have to say not from she, okay, the possessive for she. So what is the word that I have to use here to talk about possession?
Oh, these two sentences are connected.
Yes, yes, sir. There you go. The 2 sentences are correct. That is your brother, one says, period. And then here you have to say possessive, okay? So it has to be one of the 2 types of possessive. What do you say? In this case, you have to use the possessive for she. What are the 2 possessive for she? The possessive words.
Well, her and hers.
Only one is better here.
Yes, it's hers. But I don't understand the context of these 2 sentences.
Okay, it's like
okay, continue, please.
Yeah, it's like saying that is your brother. Ese es tu hermano. Hers was here before. El hermano de ella estuvo aquí antes. Okay, so it's like saying that is your brother. I'm saying that to someone else. Pero el hermano de ella, el de ella estuvo aquí antes. Okay, so I know that perhaps it is weird, but the only idea here is that we're talking about a brother. First, your brother, and then her brother, about another person that is a girl. Okay, now if I want to talk about her brother, but I don't want to say her brother, okay, her brother was here before, I only say hers was here before. Okay, but let's imagine another example like this.
I understand, but I don't understand the context of these 2 sentences, but now.
Okay, good. So that is the idea, all right? It's very important to have that in mind because it's important to remember that it doesn't matter that you have words after this word, right? The most important thing is that you don't have to have a noun, right? If you have a noun, then this is going to be incorrect. It's the last thing, right? Brother over here. If you have brother over here, automatically her hers is incorrect,
Yes.
and it has to be hers, right?
Okay.
So that is it then with this one. That was just to verify that everything is clear over there. We don't need to say anything there. And that was unit 3. Then we are done with unit 3. Now, the last unit, okay, let me verify that it was unit 3. Yes, it was unit 3. Now, unit 4, this is the last unit, the last one that we did together. Tag questions, right? Remember the short questions at the end. You are my friend, aren't you? You were there, weren't you? You studied for the test, didn't you? Right? He goes to the gym every day, doesn't he? And so on and so forth, right? To verify information. Then adjectives and adverbs, right? Adjectives can be with the verb to be, you are beautiful, or can be before nouns, you are a beautiful person. Then adjectives describe actions, right? Actions can be one verb or an entire action, right? He runs slowly, right? Or recently, I have been doing a lot of research, right? It means that recently is for all that action that I've been doing a lot of research. And finally, articles a and the. We know that we use the only for specific nouns that can be singular or plural, right? But we don't use it for general ideas in plural. For example, the dogs example, right? That is over here, just to use it that is here. Dogs are cute in general, but the dogs of my neighborhood are cute, right? And you know that you also have some other rules to use the. You use it for plural countries, you use it for rivers, for mountain ranges, you use it for musical instruments, and so on and so forth. So this is the last unit that we covered, but let me know if you have any questions about these lessons or these lessons, Gabby.
Mm, um, how can I say this word in Spanish? In Spanish to English. La verdad, digamos, cuando quiero decir la verdad es que no. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, you say, you don't say la verdad, you say only like to be honest, para ser honesto. To be honest, and then you say.
Okay. To be honest, I don't practice anything about the unit A4. So I well, I don't know if I have specific questions because I don't practice.
Didn't, right? It's better if you say
Yes,
didn't.
didn't.
Okay, good. Yeah, I get it. You told me, right? You didn't have the time, so it's okay. Then what we're going to do here, I'm just going to give you one situation for each one, okay? One for tag questions, one for adjectives and adverbs, and one for articles. And you're going to try to tell me what is the correct. We try to explain, okay, that one, and then that's it. Because
Okay.
after that, then you're going to be practicing by yourself. All right, but let's do it. For tag questions, the situation is that I'm going to give you just a couple of sentences here, the same way I was doing it. You only need to tell me the tag question for the sentence, okay? Very, very easy. If it's like this, she goes to the gym every day. What is the tag question for this sentence, Gary?
Doesn't she?
Correct. Doesn't she? The only thing we have to know is that we always need the auxiliary. We only need to be careful with the simple present and the simple past, right? Because the other auxiliaries are clear and they are always there. What about this one? Let's say Mary went to party yesterday. Okay, very easy as well. What is the question for that?
Uh, didn't she? Yes.
Exactly. And why? You're going to, perhaps you were going to tell me something, but why do you don't say Mary? Because the rule says that we always use pronouns in the tag question, right? It's incorrect if we say didn't marry, and it's incorrect if we don't contract, right? Did not marry, okay, incorrect. Always contraction and always the pronoun, right? And these are the two, the only two difficult tenses are these kind. Why? Because the other tenses have the auxiliary in the same example. Here, you don't have does or do, but you know that this is simple present and you know that you have to use do or does, right? Here, you don't have this, but you know that this is simple past and you know that you have to use this, right? Why? Because the other ones you have something like this. You will start today, right? What is the question for that
Want you.
one? Exactly. Nothing else that want you. So the auxiliary is here. And the pronoun is there. And the last one, okay? She should study for the test. What about that?
Mm, shouldn't she? Shouldn't she?
Okay, there you go. And that's it, right? You know that there are exceptions. The exceptions are for am, right? I am your friend, aren't I? And the other exceptions are not going to be on Pearson, Karen, but you can remember in the presentation, right? It's
Yes.
for let's, for imperative, and some other details, but that's something extra. So that is tag questions. If you have questions about this one, you can let me know, but again, it's just practicing for yourself. Now, what about this one? Let's try to only give one example using international. Okay, we were practicing with that word. What example can you give me using the international as adjective?
Okay, uh, the international conference will be in Colombia.
Great, good, correct. The international conference will be in Colombia. Perfect, right? So we know that we can use any adjective, right? Any adjective before a noun. So in this case, your noun was conference, right? International conference. The international conference, because it's a specific international conference that you're talking about. Good. Only one more, all right? But let's use this as an adverb. You know, adverbs can be a little bit tricky and difficult sometimes, but let's go to what adjective can it be? Let's remember this one. This is an adjective, right? Fast. And you know that it's an exception and we don't say fastly, right? Only fast. How can you use fast as an adverb?
Okay. She found runs fast.
Yeah, that is correct, right? Simple, but you're describing an action. What is the action? To run, right? How does she run? She runs fast, okay? So that's what you need to remember. Adjectives before nouns and adverbs describe actions. It means verbs or entire ideas, right? Good. And the last one is the articles the, a, and n, but we know about a and n. So some examples or a couple of examples with the. What examples can you give me first using the for, let's say, a name of a river, a mountain range, any of those?
Okay. The Guadalquivir. When I say the name of the rivers, I use this S.
And no, in this case, you only say Guadalquivir, the name, and river. You
Okay.
don't need to add the S.
The Guadalquivir River.
And what else? How can you complete that example in one
I
sentence?
need to make a sentence.
Yeah.
Sorry. No. Okay. The Guadalquivir River is the most is the most bigger. I don't know if it's okay. It's the most bigger in the city.
Close, but remember, I don't know, I think we covered that one, or I think it was A6, but I'm going to remind you, okay? If you have an adjective like big, the comparative is bigger, right? But that's comparative. You say the Guadalquivir River is bigger than let's say, I don't know, the Amazonas River. Okay, you say something like that. But if it's not a comparison and if it's a superlative, instead of bigger, you say the biggest. Okay, the biggest. You don't say the most. You have to say the plus big plus est. All right, the biggest. So one more time, please, with that information.
Okay. The Guadalquivir River is the biggest river in Tarija.
Okay, correct. Good. Now one more, and in this case, try to use one abbreviation. Okay, the plus an abbreviation. And on one example with that.
The UN want to eliminate the hungry in the world.
Okay, good. One more time, please. The abbreviation, I couldn't hear very well.
The UN.
UN, right? The United Nations.
Okay. The UN. No, is the. ¿Cómo es esto? ¿Qué organización es esta? La ONU, creo. ONU, yes.
ONU, right?
Is UN? I don't know.
ONU is Spanish, right? Organización de las Naciones Unidas. But that in English is only UN, United Nations.
Yes, I try to say this.
Okay, so one more time. Only say the UN wants to eliminate, right? Let's say poverty or hungry, or hunger is better if you say hunger means hambre as a noun. All right, so one more time, please.
The UN wants to eliminate hunger.
Hunger, exactly, right? And perhaps you watched that movie, right? The Hunger Games, Los Juegos del Hambre, and that's the word, right? Hunger. Good, great. That's it. Okay, so actually, that's it. Then what you have to do is what you told me, Karen, is just practicing, right? By looking at the assignments, you're going to practice these elements, but it's important to know those details that we covered now. So it's only going to be up to you. Remember that you still have time until next week, Tuesday. But for me, it's important that everything is clear now, because next week with me, it's only going to be the conversations, right? Of course, you can ask me questions if you have questions, but it's mainly going to be the speaking practice next week. So before going to our speaking practice today, let me know if you have any questions about Pearson or about these lessons or about anything that is theory, that is these contents, that is these lessons, or anything related to it.
No. And the well, yes. Monday we have speak exam. I don't know if it's a correct word.
No, on Monday, remember, it's only a conversation, right? It's
It's
like the
like
conversation.
but it's like an exam.
No, the Monday and Tuesday, Karen, it's only the conversations that we are replacing from the 2 days that we didn't have the conversations, right? Because of the holidays. So it's only a replacement. All right. This is not going to be an evaluation. It's only going to be a usual conversation. All right. We're going to read an article and we're going to have a conversation about it. We are going to perhaps watch a part of the video and we're going to have a conversation about it. All right. It's not an exam. It's only a conversation like the conversations that we have every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. But it's on Monday because remember that the only 2 days that we didn't have classes were on Thursday and Tuesday. It means that we lost 2 conversations, okay? And we are replacing those ones, but they are the usual conversations that we have.
So we will pass classes 15 minutes.
Yes, It means that on Monday, it's going to be like the conversations we have on Tuesday and Thursday, only 15 minutes. But as I told you, this time it can be at 7:45 if you want, or if you prefer, it can be at 8 o'clock. All right, but it's going to be from 7:45 to 8 o'clock, or it's going to be from 8 o'clock to 8:15. Okay, only 15 minutes.
So I don't need to a hint with the program.
In that you can do it. Actually, it's a good idea that you do it, please, because they are going to open the reservations for Tuesday and Thursday. So you can do it to show that you are having the conversations with me, but you're going to have the conversation instead of on Tuesday, the conversation with me is going to be on Monday, and instead of Thursday, it's going to be on Tuesday. All right, but you can work on the schedule. But remember, on Monday it can be before. I think you were asking that if it can be before, right? So if you prefer, it can be at the starting period of time, so it's 7:45 or 8 o'clock. Or if you prefer on Monday, it can be at the usual time, 9:15. It's up to you, Karen.
And I need to tell you, or I need to tell the person.
No, in this case, you only need to tell me because you can work on the calendar and you can write, for example, or schedule. The only possible schedule, I think it's 9:15, right? So you only need to tell me because that's going to count as if you were having the conversation at that time.
Okay. And I need to tell you now.
No, you can think about it.
All
right, you can think about it.
And send you a message.
If you want that day, right, or if you feel ready, or after the class you say, I think it's better this time, you can do it, okay? But when you feel ready, you let me know. But please, it has to be before 6 p.m. Monday.
No, don't worry.
All right, good. Then that's it. Any other questions about the organization or the course before going to the last practice?
One more. The final exam is the exam that is in the Pearson, that you mark.
Yes, it's going to be available at 9:30, if I'm not wrong. Let me check. But yes, it's the one that is here. It's not available now. It's going to be available in a few minutes.
Yes.
Let me check the exact time.
Yes, I know that, but this was my question.
Yes, it is the one that is on Pearson. It's the final exam. All right. I just want to be sure. That it's here. Sometimes, many things happen with technology, so I want to be sure that it's here. So that, well, these are all the assignments. Here it is, right? So this is Model A test. This is the final exam. It's going to be starting date today, July 1st at 9:30, right? So yes, is this one, and you have until July the 5th to take this exam. All right, 11:59 p.m. It's the same structure as all the quizzes that you take with me, Karen. Okay, that's going to be the final exam. All right, good. So anything else, let me know, please.
No.
Okay, so now we can go then to our last practice. And it's going to be some speaking practice, as I told you. We have our own document here, right? That is down below. It says speaking and listening practice. And something that I want to do is work with this same video, if you remember, but we're going to watch a different part that is going to be about bees. I don't know if you watched this video already, Karen.
Yes, I think that is interesting. Have
Okay.
knowledge for bees.
Okay, for bees. And have you watched it, the entire video?
Not yet.
No, yet. Okay, good. Let's do it. Because here we have very interesting vocabulary, and it's going to be good to understand this. Okay, so again, first, I'm going to play everything, the 6 minutes. Okay, so let's listen to the 6 minutes, please, Karen. Then we're going to try to analyze the most important words, and I'm going to show you the words with captions.
Okay.
Right? Good. So do you have any questions before starting?
No.
Let's begin then here. So first, let me know, please, if you can listen to the video.
Okay.
Again, something is happening with my internet connection. Give me 1 second, please.
Oh.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English.
Okay, can you hear the sound, to the voices?
Yes.
All right, so let's work on that, please.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam. How are you, Neil?
Oh, I've been as busy as a bee this week, Sam.
Ah, don't you sound like the bee's knees?
All right, Sam. There's no need to get a bee in your bonnet.
As you can hear, English is full of idioms involving bees.
But the sad truth is that bee numbers are declining at an alarming rate and in some places disappearing altogether.
And this has serious consequences for humans.
Today, 1/3 of the food we eat depends on insects to pollinate crops, fruit and vegetables.
But bees are in trouble. In some European countries, up to half of all bee species are facing extinction, placing our food supply chain at risk.
Bees are vital in pollinating hundreds of crops from apples and blackberries to cucumbers. In fact, almost all plants need insects to reproduce, which is my quiz question. Of the world's top 50 crops, how many rely on insect pollination? Is it A, 35 out of 50, B, 40 out of 50, or C, 45 out of 50?
I reckon those busy bees pollinate B, 40 out of 50 of the most common crops.
Okay, Sam, we'll find out the answer later. Now, if you think back to your school biology lessons, you may remember that plants and flowers contain both male and female reproductive parts inside.
But what exactly is going on when bees pollinate a plant? Here's Claire Bates from the BBC World Service programme People Fixing the World to remind us.
What is pollination? All flowering plants need it to reproduce. Pollen is moved from the male part of a flower to the female part of a flower. Then fertilization can happen, causing fruit to grow. Some staple crops, such as wheat, rice and corn, are pollinated by the wind. However, many plants don't release their pollen easily, and this is where insects, and especially bees, come in. As they collect nectar to eat, pollen sticks to them, and they carry it from flower to flower.
Pollination is the process in which pollen is taken from one plant to another so that it can reproduce. This is the important work done by bees and insects.
Only after pollination can the next process occur, fertilization, when the pollen carried from another plant fertilizes a female ovule to make new seeds.
Fertilization occurs in all flowering plants, some of which, like wheat, potatoes and rice, are staple crops, food that is eaten in large amounts as part of a community's daily diet and provides a large fraction of their energy and nutrient needs.
Fewer bees reduces pollination levels, meaning fewer new seeds are created and fewer crops grown.
But it isn't just the decline in bee numbers causing a problem. Like us, bees need to rest, and this has led some to come up with creative new ways of supplementing bee pollination.
One such innovator is Keren Mimran, co-founder of agrotech company Edet. Here she is explaining how dropping pollen from drones can pollinate crops, giving a helping hand to hardworking bees.
How come our food security is so much dependent on an insect that we cannot really control? We can bring the bees to the orchard or to a field, but we cannot control their behavior. They do not come out of the hive when it's raining or when there's heavy wind. They work only during daytime. There must be a possibility of developing a mechanical solution to the pollination challenge.
Keren Mimran there, speaking on the BBC World Service programme People Fixing the World. Bees' behaviour can't be controlled. When it rains, they won't leave their hive. That's the structure where bees live, either built by people or made by the bees themselves.
So Keren's company has developed drones to drop pollen on her orchard, an area of land on which fruit trees are grown.
The need for these high-tech solutions reflects the seriousness of the pollination problem for food security. Everyone getting enough affordable and nutritious food to meet their daily dietary needs.
I had no idea bees were so important, Neil. Maybe I underestimated how hard they work.
Ah, you mean today's quiz question. I asked how many of the top 50 world crops rely on insect pollination.
And I said B, 40 out of 50 of the top crops.
And you were right. They certainly are the bee's knees when it comes to pollinating plants.
So in today's program, we've been hearing about the important role bees play in pollination, transferring pollen from plant to plant, necessary for the next stage of fertilization, producing new seeds and fruit inside a plant.
Bees and insects play a vital role in growing the world's staple crops. Food, which eaten in large amounts, makes up the majority of a community's daily diet and meets their nutrient needs.
So bee numbers are directly linked to the issue of food security, everyone getting enough, affordable, nutritious food to meet their dietary needs.
Which explains why, when bees won't leave their home or hive, some people have started using drones to pollinate their orchards, land-growing fruit trees.
And that's it for this edition of 6 Minute English. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
All right, so that's it. So let's talk about this before going to the vocabulary. We have a lot of interesting words that we can use. Of course, it's related to bees, but it's important, right, to have this general knowledge, and it can apply to many things. So give me please only a short explanation first to start getting. What were you able to understand, or what can you tell me about this 6-minute program related to bees? Your microphone is off now, can it?
Okay. The video talks about the important role that the bees have to pollinate plants. Also mention that bees are disappearing in many parts of the world, and this will cause a problem because the bees, as I say, they have the job to pollinate plants. They cover an important percentage of pollinate around the world. also talk about how plants reproduce and without the bees or other insects or maybe the wind, the plants can reproduce by themselves. Then talk about other solutions and use the technology for cover these solutions. One solution is the use of drop or not drop drones that make the same job that the bees do. Well, I think that is
Great, perfect. Thank you, Karen. That was great. You got to cover all the important aspects of this video. And yes, I agree with you that that's the main information we can mention. So we're going to try only to give some definition about some words that you mentioned, for example, to pollinate or pollination. Also, they mentioned a word that is fertilization, right? Fertilization. We're going to try to define, to explain what happens there. But first, all right, only a couple of details. Remember, in pronunciation, how do you say esto causará? How do you say that? Esto causará problemas. How do you say that?
These generate problems.
It is good. That is an alternative and it's perfect. But you said will and you said causar. How do you say causar in English?
Yeah, cause.
You use the word, but only the pronunciation was not good, all right? Remember, it's with C-A-U, but you don't say cows. It's going to be cause.
Oh, yes.
Right? So it was good, right? You said this will cause and blah, 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 right? So good. Only the pronunciation of cows, it's cause. Okay, good. That one. Then at the beginning, you said the video talks about perfect, but then you said two other things. How do you say también menciona que? How do you say that?
Also talks about.
But remember, you said that after you give me complete ideas, right? You say pam, 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 and it does this and that, period. Remember that if you say also at the beginning, you're giving me another complete idea. Exactly. Also, comma, it mentions that, it talks about, and so on and so forth. All right, but you need the it. If you don't say the it sounds not correct.
Yes.
All right, good. Good. I think that's it. Everything else was great. All right, the explanation, every information that you mentioned was very good and certain. So let's start talking about vocabulary. All right, because you mentioned very important words and we need to talk about these words. So first, pollination. What is pollination? How can you explain what pollination is, Karen?
Fewer.
Sorry.
I think that is a process that no pollination. Pollination is it's not a process. It's when no, I don't know. It's something specific with the weather or something specific with the plants.
In this case, it's related to what happens with the bees, right? What is the process of the bees going from one plant to another plant? Okay, that's related to pollination. What happens? Or actually, explain what pollination is related to bees. What do bees do to pollinate a plant?
Okay, almost. A pollination is a process that plants have to reproduce and to make new seeds. I don't know if I pronounce it. Seeds.
Good seeds. It is correct. And there, but what happens? How do bees do that process? It's correct, right? You know that you need to get pollen, right? Pollination is the process of getting pollen from one plant, right, to another plant. And
Ah,
when it happens, right, that's going to be fertilization, right? Fertilization is when the pollen from the male plant gets into the female plant, right? So that's the process. But how does that happen, Karen? I mean, is the bee conscious about that? Does the bee know that he or she, right, or it, you can say in grammar, that it is bringing pollen to the other plant? Or how does the bee does that? Why does the bee do that action?
because they need feed themselves or their colony. I don't know if it's okay, this word.
It is good, the colony. And how do you say? And actually, you're going to use one word for the house, let's say, of the bee, and you can call also that a different name. But it's not bad if you say a colony, but it's a specific name for the house. But before going there, what is that the bees eat? What do the bees eat, or what is the let's say the nutrient that the bee is getting from the plant?
I don't know.
It is very sweet, right? It's not the honey, right? No, not la miel.
Yes.
But there's something very sweet.
Pollen.
It happens when they get this other element, the pollen sticks to them, right? And actually it sticks to their butt. Se pega su trasero, right? The pollen. But they are eating, they are collecting something. It's the same word in Spanish. They are collecting nectar.
Ah, yes.
Okay? Nectar, right? So they go to the plant because they want nectar. And as they are getting the nectar, they get stuck, right, in the plant, and the pollen gets stick into the bee, right? So the bee doesn't know. The bee is just collecting things, eating, and without knowing, the pollen sticks in the bee, and the bee goes to the other plant, right? And also without knowing, the pollen, right, gets in that plant, because the bee is still collecting nectar, but the pollen now is in the female plant, right? And now what happens there? The fertilization, right? There's a reproduction between female and male plants, right? So let me know if you have questions about that. If not, I would like you to try to explain that one more time, please, Karen. How does the pollination process happen with bees? What do you say?
Okay. Bees need to feed themselves, and with necessary they go the flower to flower. I don't know, it's okay. In this process, they how can I say llevar consigo mismo o consigo?
Get along, to get along. You can say they get pollen along with them.
They get pollen along with
with them.
With them.
Okay. I'm writing that in the chat. Okay, is get something along with you. All right. For example, you can say, I'm going to give you one more example. It's in the chat. You can say, hey, I'm getting my computer along with me. It means estoy llevando conmigo mi computadora. Okay, I'm getting something along with. It means llegar algo consigo. All right. So that's why you say then the bees get the pollen along with them to a different plant or a different flower, right? So keep going, please.
Okay. With this process, and this process that the bee get along pollen with them to one flower or plant to another. This process called pollination.
Good. And it doesn't happen only with bees, right? It happens with many insects, but bees are the most important ones, of course, and also with the wind, right? The wind, when the wind is blowing, right, it takes out the pollen from the plants, right? And the wind takes the pollen to another plant, right? And no, that's also pollination. So good. Also, first you were saying traer, but if you want to say also llevar, that's almost the same. You can also say take something, all right, along with you. Okay, so you can say I'm taking my computer with me. Okay, or the bee is taking the pollen with it. All right, and without wanting it, right, unconsciously, right, inconscientemente, because that's not the bee's intention, right? Unconsciously, the bee is producing pollination. So good. That is pollination then. That's great. Let's go to another word that is very interesting here. So actually, I wanted to ask you that one. You told me one word, right? That it's a colony, that it can be also the organization that bees have. But what is the name of the house, let's say, okay, quotation marks. What is the name of the house in which bees live, Karen?
I don't, in Spanish, I think that is panel.
All right. Yeah, that's the name of the structure also there, right? And it's good. But you call that, remember, that's a colmena, right? And colmena in English, I'm looking for the words here, okay? But I'm going to write it if I don't find it. It's hive, okay? Hive, H-I-V-E, hive. That is the place, all right, in which they live. That is their community, hive. And if I'm not wrong, it's also in the last part. If not, again, I'm going to write it for you. No problem. Yes, I think I'm not finding the word. So let me write it just to verify. Okay, hive. So they live there in the hive. Good. Now, there is more words that I want you to try to explain. And actually, it's going to be one situation over here. Yes, they asked a question. I don't know if you got to answer the let's say the answer to this question, but this is the word, right? And nectar is exactly the same, right? And here they are explaining, as they collect nectar to eat, pollen sticks to them, and then carry. This is another option. Instead of take along with, you can say carry, but that's like cargar. Right? They carry it from flower to flower, right? So that's the idea. And it's from flower to flower. So that is a process. And it can reproduce, right? The plants can reproduce over there. But the question was this one here. And all right, so here, from the top, it says, right? There are top crops, you know, crops like cultivos. From the 50 top crops that we have as humans, Karen, how many of those 50 are pollinated by insects? Do you remember the answer?
45.
All right, so let's take to that one.
Estimated how hard they work.
Ah, you mean today's quiz question. I asked how many of the top 50 world crops rely on insect pollination.
And I said B, 40 out of 50 of the top crops.
And you were right.
Okay, so close. It's going to be 40. all right? 40 out of 50, but it's a lot, right? A lot of crops depend or rely, right? So depend on or rely on is going to be the same. They rely on insects to pollinate. That's why they are going to be very important over there. All right, so 40 out of 50 crops. Okay, 40 out of 50. This expression is also very interesting, right? 40 de 50, 40 out of. So you can say 7 out of 10 people prefer to study this than that, right? Out of and out. So those are words that I wanted to check, and that information also was important for me to show you, Karen. But I don't know if you have specific words or questions that you want to check that were not that clear for you during this, well, the explanation of how bees are important for the future, right, of humanity and for pollinating crops. What do you say? Do you have any specific questions about this? Let me know.
About what or about the video?
Can be about words or about something in the video that was not clear for you.
I think no. About
Yes,
the words, I think that well, I need to see with this. How can I say lo que le pone? Subtitles? Subtitles.
yes, you can call in subtitles, but usually they call, it's more common to say that captions, the captions.
Captions.
Exactly. Look here. You have two options, right? If you see down below, it says subtitles or closed captions. That's why you have double C here. Okay, that means closed captions. It means that these are the words that, well, the people are saying in the video. Okay, good. So yes, so in general, but the idea here was good, right? So to finish this one, I actually want to ask you this question. It says, is there a future without bees? So how can you answer this question then with this discussion they had, right? We know that insects are important. 40 out of 50 crops that we have rely on insects, so they are very important. And from those insects, bees are the most important. They are looking for alternatives, right? Drones. But sometimes it's not going to be possible, at least not in every country, to use drones instead of relying on bees or on other insects, right? It's not going to be that possible. So what do you say? How important then are bees for, well, for the world or for ourselves, Karen?
I think that they are very important, and without the bees, in this case, I say without the bees or without bees, because I talk about something. I talk about bees around the world.
Then it will be directly bees. If you mean all bees in the world, then it will be directly without bees.
So without bees, we will we won't have the change. No, how can I say chance?
It actually is going to be the same, right? Because that's an English word, right? You can say the chance, or you can say the opportunity.
It's better opportunity. We won't have the opportunity to still alive. I think that we can survive only few years without bees, but more than these years, I think that we will. It's not. It's how can I pronounce extinguirse? Extinguish?
No, you can say it's extinguished, but you use that actually in passive voice. So you can say we can get extincted. get extincted?
Get this. I don't know if get will. It's. I need to use
Get
will plus get or
plus get.
okay. Get extincted, but I think that we will have many problems with the food and how can yes with the food. So many people probably die. Die.
Will die or die. Okay, great, exactly. I believe the same. We have the technology, of course we have the technology, but it's not the same, right? We cannot trust on drones, we cannot trust on technology to have that one.
It's not enough.
Yes, it is not enough. We have millions, and even you read that one and you heard that one, right? They are facing extinction. It means that now bees are in extinction danger, right? And that's happening. So perhaps bees are going to disappear. That's why they are looking for alternatives, but it's going to be hard to find a good alternative, right? So that's the last one that I want to ask you now. Why do you think that bees are facing extinction? And do you think that there is a way to help bees so that they don't get extincted? What do you say?
Yes, I think that we can stop the bees extinction, but I think that is something that um, is linked with a problem with how can I say with medioambiental. I don't know if it's a great problems.
You say the environmental problems.
Yes. So if we want to help bees, first we need to get a solution to many environments problems that we have. These problems affect in a directly or indirectly way.
If you say directly, then you don't have to say way. You can say in a direct way, or you can say directly. Okay, so it will be these problems affect directly, right? Because it's an adverb.
Okay, affect direct or indirect way to bees.
All right, good. That's great. Also, one little detail, your explanation, and I agree with it. An environment is going to be a noun, but the adjective for environment is going to be environmental. Okay, so if you want to say problemas de medio ambiente, you have to say environmental problems. All right, environmental.
Okay.
All right, good, great, exactly, right? So many problems that we have now are related to our environment, right? We need to take care of our environment if we want solutions for many of the problems that we have now, and that is correct. And in these 5 minutes, just develop that one. How far or how close do you think that Bolivia is to finding solutions for environmental problems? Do you think that people in Bolivia are conscious about these problems, that the government and people know what to do with this? Or do you think that people in Bolivia are not ready as in other countries?
I think that we are not ready because the most important problem is the education in Bolivia. Many people don't have education, and without education, we can develop solutions about anything. No, how can I say cualquier cosa?
Yeah, actually anything can work there for anything. Yes, in that case, anything is going to mean cualquier cosa.
Yes, anything. And the government is and the government doesn't want help or bring solutions with this type of problems, because they think that others issues are more important than this specific.
Right, good. I think that's a great explanation. I also agree with you on that one. They have other like priorities, right? And education is very important for everything. If you don't change education, well, everything can be only for some years, but everything is going to go back right to what it was. So good. In that word, remember, if you use other, you have to say others only if you don't mention a word after others, right? But if you say other, for example, solutions, then you only say other solutions, right? But don't others solutions. All right, just that one. Then good. And connected to that one, because we have 2 minutes, all right, this one. If education is very important but now we don't have a good level of education in Bolivia, then what is another alternative? Do you think that there's another way to give information to people? I mean, you know that people watch TV, they listen to the radio, they go into the social media, right? So in case education was not the option in a place as Bolivia, what other alternatives can you give to give information to people so that they are aware of what's happening and they can change their behavior?
I think that it's okay if I say Bolivian people.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. You can say Chinese people, Bolivian people, but usually they are going to say just Bolivians.
Okay, I think that Bolivians have this type of how can I say, I don't know how can I say this even in Spanish, culture. I think that is culture that, for example, I think that one way would be influencer.
Yes, it's also a thing in English. Good. An influencer.
An influencer, and that talk about this issue with the culture that we have. I think that is a good idea.
That's great. Exactly. Now we have to look for alternatives, right? TV perhaps is not the most efficient way to work now, right? TV is good, but sometimes it's not the best option. It can be, but sometimes influencers on social media are more important now, right? Everybody's in their cell phones. They are watching videos. They're watching TikTok. They are watching YouTube, right? And they get information there. Sometimes it's not a good type of information, but if you get to use good information to spread it, right, with social media and influencers, that can be a great idea. So good, that's it. All right, it's 9:25. We're going to finish with that one, and let's close this then. Again, I'm just going to ask you then not about this one. Remember that you have access to the video on Google Classroom, right? You have access to all the material that we used. Monday, we don't have any more classes. It's only the conversation. You need to verify the schedule, right? The time. And Tuesday, the same. But Tuesday, yes, it has to be at 9:15. Okay, only the Monday is going to be. Only Monday, you tell me. It can be before, and it's going to be great. Okay, even for me, it will be better if it's before, but it's up to you. Then that's it. Until Tuesday is everything. Unit 5 and the final exam. I don't know yet, Karen, when the next course is going to start. Okay, they didn't tell me. Usually it's very close to the previous course. Okay, usually it's one day after the previous course. Usually when the last day is on Wednesday or Tuesday, they have Friday free. and they start on Monday next week. But now we have these two conversations, and I don't know if the next class or next course is going to start on Wednesday or Friday, but I imagine it's going to be one of those 2 days. That information, you can ask that directly to administration or management, all right, in case you have questions about it. But that's what I can tell you. I don't know if you have any final questions before finishing everything today, Karen.
Yeah, teacher, if I would change my schedule,
Schedule?
I need to talk with administration. If, for example, if I would like to pass class early.
Yes, you need to tell them. And actually, they are going to tell you if it's going to be possible, because sometimes they have 2 courses, right? Let's say the next one is going to be 8-8. Okay, if they have 8-8 available at 6 o'clock, it means the first schedule, then it is going to be possible. All right, but they have to tell you if that is going to be possible. As you're the only one, perhaps they can move it. But for example, it will be perhaps with a different teacher. But again, they have to verify that one.
Okay.
All right, good. So then that's it. Remember again, only the conversations next week. Today, I'm going to ask you to fill out the survey as always, Karen, that is over there. Let me know when you do it, please.
It's not.
All right, great. So enjoy your weekend. Don't forget about your missing assignments. All right.
Don't worry.
See you on Monday. And please don't forget to verify the time before 6 p.m. on Monday.
Oh, yes,
All right.
teacher.
All right. Bye-bye. So have a good night, a good weekend.
You too, bye.
Thanks. Bye.